Hello Year 7s, it is lesson 5 in the Dissolving and Separating book. Today we are going to be looking at solvents other than water. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put a glass rod covered in nail varnish, you can see the nail varnish here, into one test tube. One test tube contains 5 centimeters cubed of water. The other one contains 5 centimeters cubed of acetone. We're going to stir both rods for 30 seconds. Let's have a look at the video and see what happens. Five centimeters cubed of acetone. In goes the glass rod covered in some nail varnish. Stirring the glass rod. And you can see that acetone is a solvent of nail varnish. The nail varnish is starting to dissolve. The nail varnish is the solute, whereas the acetone is the solvent. Do exactly the same thing. 5 centimeters cubed of water. Put in the glass rod with our nail varnish on top and stir. And the water is not acting as a solvent here. The nail varnish is not dissolving, it is insoluble. And there we have it. So what we're going to do now is answer these 3 questions as a paragraph, okay? So explain question 1, explain what happens to the nail varnish in both test tubes. Okay. In water, the nail varnish does not dissolve. Does not dissolve. But in acetone it does. Question 1 completed. What chemical solvent must nail varnish remover contain? Nail varnish remover must contain something that dissolves nail varnish, which is our acetone. Nail varnish remover must contain acetone. I've just answered question 2. Now, question 3. In the right test tube, what is the solvent and what is the solute? That is the one with the nail varnish and the acetone. Question 3. In the right hand test tube, the solvent the thing that did the dissolving was acetone. And nail varnish was the thing that actually dissolved, so it must be the solute. Solvent done, solute done, question 3 done. Now this is quite interesting, this one. Dry cleaners. Have you ever taken a suit or a dress down to a dry cleaners, or has a relative done that before? Now, I didn't actually know what dry cleaning meant until I actually started teaching. Sometimes you cannot wash all clothes and remove some stains using just water. For example, if you manage to get nail varnish onto a t-shirt and you try to wash it in water, it wouldn't come off. Remember, nail varnish is insoluble in water, so that would be useless. So you'd have to take it to the dry cleaners. Now, dry cleaning just means that you're using a solvent other than water. It could be acetone, it could be something else. It could certainly be a liquid, it's just not water. That's why it's called dry cleaning. Now, this is the task that we're going to look at. We're going to find out which solvent is best at removing an ink stain from a piece of clothing. So what we're going to do is this. We're going to take 3 containers. Each one contains the same volume of a solvent, and those solvents are water, acetone, and methanol. We're going to draw an identical X onto each piece of cloth. You're going to place the cloth or the swatch into one container and stir that swatch or that piece of clothing with an X inked onto it with a glass rod for 2 minutes. Remove the swatch and draw what is left of the ink stain, or even take a photograph of it. So let us have a look at a video on this subject. It looks like we have 3 potential solvents: acetone, methanol, and water. You can see the swatches there with the ink cross, the ink stain. First one in, I think, is the acetone. Yep. And look at it starting to dissolve the ink straight away. Look at that. Okay, we're coming to the end of the stirring in the acetone, and look at that. The X has been dissolved. The ink has been dissolved. Next in is methanol. Yes, and you can see that that is starting to release the ink. The ink is starting to dissolve in the methanol. The stain is being removed. Remember, acetone and methanol are not water, and therefore they can be used in dry cleaning. Okay, that's been stirred for 2 minutes in the methanol, and that appears to have removed the ink stain from the swatch, the piece of cloth. Finally, let's do the water. Not much going on there at the moment. We'll come back to that towards the end. Okay, still stirring away with the water, and you can still see that there's a cross there. Yes, not a very good solvent there at all. Yeah, the results are quite clear. Acetone, well, have a read now. So here are the results. The solvent name, we had water, we had methanol, and we had acetone. And we still had a big cross in with the water, whereas with the methanol and acetone it had dissolved. So let's write in a conclusion. The ink stain on the cloth was insoluble in water, didn't dissolve. To remove the ink, the clothing should be dry cleaned. In other words, use methanol or acetone to dissolve the ink. I hope you now understand what the term dry cleaning means. Well done, see you soon.